got over 100 tackles again this year. That's every season in your career now.
I know you talked in the past about consistency being the big deal for you. Just what's that?
To hit that barrier every year.
I just think it's just the time you put in the off season, all the studying, all the hours that you put in to try to be a great player. To have something like that and have it happen over consecutive years, it just shows the consistency. I always try to be a consistent player, and so that's just being able to do that just kind of shows how consistent someone could be.
Bob?
Yeah, Bobby. What's that? What's the photo on your shirt? First of all.
Oh, it's Jordan.
Okay, the dunk here in Seattle.
Yeah, and the salmon.
The other is Pete. The other day said you're a Hall of Famer in the that we're watching you have a Hall of Fame career as it's going on. Do you think much about that kind of stuff at all? Like where this might ultimately end up for you?
Nah, honestly, I don't. I just try to go out there and do the best that I can. It's it's like an evolution. You know what I mean? Like when I was in high school, I just wanted to get to college. When I was in college, I wanted to get to the pros. When I was in the pros, I wanted to be a Pro Bowler. And then you heard about All Pro, and so you just try to set little goals for yourself and try to see if you can get those goals and try to do it within the team and kind of control what you can. And so I can control my play, control my effort, my consistency, and everything else kind of take care of itself.
Corbin?
Hey, Bobby, you've now gotten to play significant snaps with Jordan Brooks for 6 games. How would you assess his development right now, and what's the area that you've seen the most improvement from him here in the last few weeks?
I think the thing with Jordan is he's getting better every week. I think the more he gets out there and plays, the more comfortable and confident he gets. And, I think he's been able to fly around and make some plays, whether it's in the run game or passing game. So I think the more he's out there, the more he gets those reps, the more comfortable he can get, and, he'll continue to grow.
Jen?
When you have to teach somebody like Jordan or any other newcomer different things at that position, sometimes it causes you to reflect on how you're doing your job. Is there any part of your game that's gone up a notch just because of the way you look at things now after teaching it to the rookie?
I don't know if anything's like gone up a notch. I think the thing that I've been reflective the most is like trying to remember when I was a rookie, and try to figure out what type of player did I talk back to my vets. Was I a listener? The funny things, I still remember the first time I was in the huddle when I tried to call the play, and I think it was Clem, Earl, Cam, and of course Sherm. Didn't even hear what I was saying. They just started talking about I had no neck. So I knew I was up against in that group.
Art?
Bobby, when the defense struggles earlier in the year, did you and Ken Norton have a conversation about, I realize it's coach-player, but I'm wondering over the years, has he grown to trust you and take you in as far as at least a consultant on defensive strategy?
Our relationship has grown on and off the field. So I definitely feel like there's a trust factor with myself and him, and we're always conversating on obviously improve the defense because we want the defense to be the best that can possibly. That communication is constant. It doesn't increase or decrease depending on how we play.
Matt?
Bobby, you talked about consistency earlier. On special teams, I feel like Jason Myers and Michael Dixon have been models of consistency. I'm just wondering what you and the team have thought about what those guys are doing.
They've been lights out. Both of those guys have been lights out, and a lot of the fans are, I know our fans, but a lot of the people that kind of just watch football for the defense and the offense, they don't really understand the importance of, having someone to go out there and always make the extra point, or always, you're confident in them making the field goal, or you're confident in them in, if we get them close enough that we a 50-plus yard field goal, or even a guy like Mike where he constantly puts the defense in a great position by pinning them down inside the 10. And so those guys have been amazing for us. They've been very crucial to our success, and we wouldn't be successful without those guys.
Nico.
Yes, Bobby. First of all, it's definitely fire.
Thank you.
And in terms of the defense as a group, over the last couple of games, you guys have been so good. Does it feel like you guys are turning the corner away from the direction or the struggle that you guys had at the beginning of the season, or is it too soon to tell?
I definitely feel like, we kind of been moving in the right direction. I think the biggest thing, we've been able to get after the quarterback. We've been able to, sack the quarterback, which is not allow us to have to cover for so long or so far downfield. And so I think all of that plays hand in hand from the front to the secondary. And so, once we get all the elements of the defense clicking at once, I think you're seeing, how good we can be. And so for me, like we kind of talked about this whole thing, is just being consistent. So my thing is just having us be able to sustain that level every single game from this point forward. And then, we could talk about it after this season where we ended up at.
Jackie.
Hey, Bobby. Coach Carroll's talking about the Giants' commitment to the run. What have you seen from Wayne Gallman, the guy who's been getting the bulk of their carries lately? Or how would you describe his running style?
Yeah, they're committed on the run, and so it's something that they're going to come in. They just they want to be physical and kind of I think running back mimics that style. You're going to come and lower your shoulders, going to attack you, whether it's crunch plays or different plays like that. They're going to come downhill and direct at you. It's going to test your gap discipline, going to test your physicality. So it's a game that linebackers look forward to.
And then, are you participating in the My Cleats, and if so, what's your cause?
I'm not.
Greg.
Hi, Bobby. Apologize if this is too personal. Tell me to get lost if you think this is too personal. With the way your career has become, the way you are as a father, the way you involve yourself off the field, what would your mother say, looking down to see what you've become?
Oh, that is a good one. What would she say? I think she would be proud of me. I think, the biggest thing I think she'd be proud of is the man that I am off the field, more so on the field. I don't, she's always been like my biggest supporter. So she's always the loudest person at the games. She was always the one that I had to look at as a son. You looked into the stands. You kind of had to tell her, like, can you sit down a little bit? Let's chill. So she was always that person. But so I think she still would have been that same way, even without the fans. I probably would have been able to hear her through the screen. So. But I think the biggest thing that I think she would be, I guess most proud of is the humility, is the consistency, being the same person that I've, always been. I just grown as a person, but, what I do off the field, I think she'd be most proud of.
You still have her car?
Huh?
Do you still have her car?
Still have her car, and I fixed it up not too long ago. I just fixed it up probably a week ago. Just got it back, repainted, new rims, new interior. Everything's working smooth. So as long as I'm alive, that car will be alive.
Thank you.
Brady. Hey, Bobby. Fred Warner says he watches a lot of your tape and has tried to learn from your game. What kind of relationship do you have with him, if any, and what are your impressions of Warner as a player?
I think our relationship has grown over the years. I think we had planned on getting together this off season, and then COVID happened, so it kind of shut that down. But I kind of expect our relationship to grow. It's a guy that I love to watch as well. I love his game. I love the way he leads, the way he goes after it every single time. So it's always fun to watch him play, and for him to say that he looks at my game is just. I'm honored, and so I look forward to him continuing his success. He deserves to be an All-Pro, and I look forward to many, many years of being able to share the field with him.
Then,
Hey, Bobby, I remember you describing to us, I think either 2019, 2018, your very regimented, kind of daily routine. I think you get up super early, have like the same thing for breakfast or whatever. I was just wondering in what ways has that changed this year due to COVID, and do you feel like you're kind of at a point now where you're in your group?
It has not changed. COVID does not change the routine. So, you just have to find a way to get creative. And so if you can't get that meal at the facility, you got to find a way to get a meal somewhere else. But the routine is still the same. Wake up at the same time, eat the same thing for the most part, watch the film at the same time. You'll be able to find me at different points in time because I'll be in the same spot. So my life is pretty consistent. No problem.
Hey Bobby, I read your article about you in entrepreneur.com, and you were quoted talking about culture, and I'm wondering if you could just talk a little bit about the importance of culture in the locker room, and then what you've done like off the field just to help create that.
I think culture is always important in every aspect, whether it's in business or it's in, in sports. I think with us, we've established a culture here that, no matter where you come from, whether you're a young guy or a new guy, you walk in knowing the standard and knowing the standard of, what is expected of you, is your play, as your role, whatever your role is. And so I think that's important because everybody needs to know their role. And everybody needs to know what is expected of them when they walk into this building, whether they play offense, defense, or special teams. We have a certain way of carrying ourselves. We have a certain way of going about our business. And, I think that's important for everybody to know because, you either get on board or you don't last that long here. And so it's a very fun environment. It's an environment that everybody looks forward to for the most part to come and have fun. But we know when it's time to get serious and locked in. And, I think it's just important because you have everybody in the building on the same page, from the top guy to the bottom guy. Everybody is on the same page, striving for the same thing in their own different way. And that's how you become successful, in my opinion, is everybody is on the same accord.
Michael Sean.
Hey Bob, have you read anything interesting book-wise, or do you slow down when the season gets going?
What have I? No, I don't slow down. The only difference is when I'm in the season, I don't read as much. I listen more to the books, and so if I do read something, it'll be like short. But I think the last thing I listened to was Malcolm X, autobiography of Malcolm X. Let me check my handy dandy Audible app. I am currently listening to Why Should Why Guys Have All the Fun. It's about Reginald Evans, who created a $1 billion business empire, and then The Art of Communicating. I can't even pronounce this author's name, and I just finished The Black Presidency by Michael Eric Dyson. So that's my current listening. So if anybody wants to start a book club, let me know.
Thanks.
Curtis. Yeah, Bobby, you guys talked about how much the time together here recently has helped the defense kind of make some strides forward, and just all of a sudden having guys back healthy and the extra weeks together and all of that. How are you tangibly seeing that play out on the field? As somebody who's been in this defense forever, where are you seeing those games actually show up out there from that experience and that comfort level increasing here?
I think the trust on the field, I think as you play more, because I think earlier on it was, we were having guys be hurt and things of that nature. So you were kind of playing with somebody new every single game. So you had to relearn, and not everybody plays the certain position the same way. And so you have to know how a certain guy plays a position versus, somebody that's got hurt. And so I think to play, all together and really understand, how someone plays a certain place. It's allowed us to play faster, and it's allowed us to not have to think so much about where that guy might be, but have the confidence knowing that he's going to be there. And I think it's just allowed us to play faster.
All right, thank you, Bobby. That's it.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.